Hello, everyone. This is MMA Interesting Prospects podcast. Today, our guest is Arthur Dufloo, who will be fighting on UFL 3 on August 12th. Hello, Arthur. How are you?
Hey, how's it going, man?
Arthur, you have, I think, the really tough opponent in front of you in Jose Delgado. So if you can tell, what do you think about this opponent? And if you beat him, what would be next for you?
I'm not really focused on what's next. Yeah, he's good, man. He's a young prospect. He's good. He's 3-1. His only pro loss was from a really good wrestler. So yeah, it should be a really good fight. Yeah, I'm never really focused on what's next. I always focus on the fight because so many different things can happen. You know what I mean? Injuries and stuff like that. So I'm only focused on him, especially like you said, he's tough. So yeah, I'm only focused on the person in front of me. I never really think ahead. Um, After the fight, I'll be happy to say more about what I think would happen next. You know?
And do you watch fights of his?
Yeah. I watch all of his fights. Yeah, he's good, man. He's nice on the feet. He's technical. He's from a good gym, so you know that's good. Good opponent.
And in the perfect scenario, do you plan to add another submission to your record, or would you like would you have a chance to like the peak perfect result? Would you like to go for the 3 rounds?
Uh, I always like submissions. That's what I like the most. My last couple fights have got submissions really quick, but I honestly wasn't even looking for them. I just found them when the exchange happened. I don't know if you watched them, but it was quite quick, so it just happened, right? But I always go prepare for 3 rounds, but always looking for the finish at the same time. You know, especially with these fighters here in the States training full time, training hard. Like sometimes it's hard to get the submission right away. You know, so yeah, for sure. In my mind, I want to have all submissions. 30-0, retire all submissions, you know, but sometimes it don't go like that. So I don't want to make a prediction and then look silly if I end up going a decision. But submission is always my goal for sure.
Yes, and your 2 pro bouts were really quick because I believe both of them were like under 50 seconds. So it
Yeah,
is kind
yeah,
of
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. My last 3 amateur fights went a little bit longer, and I was still able to get 2 submissions, and I had one TKO doctor stoppage from a really tough guy that I had him in a Kimura, but he didn't tap and he broke his shoulder, and then they stopped it in between rounds. So it was a TKO, but it was a submission. You know, it was caused by a submission attempt.
And right now you will be fighting on UFL. And is it a one fight deal, or do you plan to have more fights with them?
Yeah, they give me a one fight deal. Obviously, if I perform well, I'm sure they'll sign me. That's what they say to my manager, I think. But yeah, I'm just focused on this fight. But yeah, I will. Yeah, depending on what they're offering, I would be glad to enter more fights with them. It's a really good promotion. It looks nice. All of the productions, so far, everything like they've done with, uh, like the pre-fight stuff, like everything is really organized. You know, like 2 3 weeks out. I'm used to a little bit more. Uh, like a little bit less planned events. So this is really nice to do them. I'm a fan so far of what they're doing.
And on their cards, they had a lot of prospects. The guy from like LFA, Bellator, and the guys
Yeah,
that I think that in next few months or years can be like on the top of UFC. So I think that it's a good to fight on this kind of card.
no, for sure, man. Yeah, they have a lot of good prospects on there.
And let's talk about your beginnings in the sport.
Yeah,
Was it a MMA like the first combat sport that you ever trained, or you came from like another discipline to MMA?
I did a little bit of kickboxing in France when I was still living in France as a kid. Not that serious, like a year. I stopped. I was always skateboarding as a kid. I skateboarded for a very long time. So I always had that like taste for like danger and stuff like that. But now I started training MMA around like 25 years old. I started pretty late. I'm 30 now, so it's only been like 5 years I'm fighting. But I got around the right people right away, you know, in Vegas. So I started with jiu-jitsu, I think when I was like 24. I did like a year and then I started training MMA. I had my one of my jiu-jitsu coaches from Ten Planet in Vegas. His name is Bendy Casimir. He's a super old school WEC French fighter, and he took me under his wing, and yeah, he basically not convinced me, but he convinced me, yeah, that I could be fighting. Because at first I didn't even know if I could do it. I thought I was too old, but yeah, I got good pretty quick. Went amateur in 2019. Um, Won my first fight. Then a couple months later, 2020, I lost. Then COVID happened. I couldn't fight for like a year. Then after that, 2021, I fought in January on my birthday. I had a good fight, but they gave the decision to the other guy. I thought I won, but I lost, obviously. So I was 1-2. I was like, oh fuck, man, this sucks. And then I went on this 5 win streak that I'm on right now. So yeah, it's been super how can I say, super busy. It's been a lot going on, and I love it.
And I think that the amateur career is good thing for the fighters because they can lose some fights, and in the end it's like the proving ground a little bit.
Yeah,
Right now you are 2-0, you are undefeated, so you
yeah.
could make this mistakes early in your career.
Yeah, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for my amateur career, man. At first I thought I wanted to go pro quick. Everybody always thinks that I'm gonna go 3-0 and go pro right away. And I'm glad it didn't happen that way. I'm glad I had to learn some stuff. I went through a tough decision as an amateur too. That was like that I learned a lot. For
And
sure.
your like main gym is 10th Planet in Las Vegas, and is it the only place that you train MMA, or do you like to go to other gyms and train also there?
So I train at Extreme Couture too now. So I do both. But mainly now all my MMA we're doing at Extreme Couture. So yeah, so this whole camp I did at Extreme Couture the last 3 months. I did all at Extreme Couture, and I still do jiu-jitsu at Ten Planet. But we used to have a full MMA team at Ten Planet, and we don't have it anymore. So now they're just doing the ground, and we do all of the guys from Ten Planet went to Extreme Couture because we already had ties there. I was already going there from time to time, so it just made sense. And yeah, it's been great, man. I had a great camp.
And who is like your regular sparring partner where you are training in Extreme Couture?
It switches. I've gotten a lot of rounds with over the years with my one of my best friends in Vegas and UFC fighter Julian Erosa. So I have a lot of rounds with him. I have gotten a lot of rounds with Biagio Ali Watch too from the PFL. Josh Augustine, Jose. Sorry, sorry, Shorty Torres that's fighting for the Brave title on the same day as me. He's fighting next weekend. So I got a lot of rounds with him. Yes, it's been great, man. Also a lot of amateurs from Ten Planets. I can't name all of the guys right now, but yeah, I go with everyone there, man. It's
Yes,
yeah, it's a great gym. It's a lot of people there, man. A lot of people you can choose from.
but all of names that you mentioned are like very good fighters. Like Rosa is like top 15 guy in the UFC, or Jose Torres is also one of the best flyweight outside of the UFC.
Yeah, bantamweight, yeah, but yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah, man. I've it's been like that my whole my whole career. When I started MMA, I was already training with pros. I was already training with like Tim Elliott, like guys like that from the jump. So that's why I've been able to like learn really quick and fight a lot like the way I've been doing. But yeah, man, it's tough rounds, bro. I don't really have easy rounds, in the gym. Like it's always tough for me. I always have a lot of guys trying to take my head off, and it's great. It's great. It prepares me.
And because these kind of rounds are so hard, your fights are so easy. You are finishing everybody because of this.
Yeah, yeah. I would like to think so. I would like to think so. But it's funny because I really never go into a fight thinking I'm gonna finish quick. To me, if you do that, you're a little bit crazy. Like, cause it's not gonna always happen like that. So even though like I do it, and is lately it's been happening that way, I honestly, truly, I am ready for like a 3 round every time. But yeah, it's fucking nice, bro. When it happens like that, when it's like 40 seconds and you out and you know you just go and party, it's a beautiful thing, you know.
And you
But
are
yeah,
very
I think you're right. I think you're right. Like the rounds are hard, so the fights are easier for sure.
you are a very good grappler. And do you like compete in grappling competition?
I used to a lot. I haven't in a couple of years just because I'm fully focused on MMA, you know. Um, so yeah, I'm fully focused on MMA. Just different rule sets, different style. And I used to sacrifice position a lot and go on submissions in grappling. And I used to do that as an amateur in MMA, but I got away from that and I'm just focusing on control and MMA rules and ground and pound because it's just so different that I don't want to disrespect grappling competition and just show up like half ready just because I'm doing mostly MMA. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, that's why I haven't done it in a while.
And going for risky submissions, like from the fans perspective, is a really cool thing. But when you like go for the leg and you are like in a second ground and pound, it's like a
Yeah,
very bad feeling. So it's
yeah,
like
man.
to other kind of competitions.
Exactly, yeah. And I do have leg locks in MMA. I have two knee bars, but they were from top position. I would not like play bottom and stuff like that. Even though I'm a 10 planet guy, so it's weird. People always think like I play guard and stuff, but I'm not that much of a guard guy.
And right now, is it BJJ your favorite part of the like regular training?
Yeah, it's always been the more fun thing to do, but I try not to have a favorite, man. I know I'm giving you like vague answers like that, but it's just because I'm really trying to not be like one dimensional or have one thing that I do solely. You know what I mean? I'm really trying to enjoy the process and enjoy everything. For sure, it's the more fun, but I try not to have like a favorite thing. You know what I mean? Because there's gonna be guys that have better ground than me. There's gonna be guys that have better wrestling than me, and I can't take them down. So I try not to have anything favorite. I just try to go where path of resistance is the easiest for me to go. You know what I'm saying?
And in the theory, what would be a toughest stylistically matchup for you?
In what?
In MMA, what's the kind of style would be toughest for you right now to fight?
Man, probably one of those D1 Michigan wrestlers. Those motherfuckers fucked me up at Extreme Couture. Probably those guys, because Jiu-Jitsu is hard on them. You know, they know where to keep their head and they know how to control you really well. Yeah, I'm probably one of those D1 wrestlers that go to Extreme Couture. But thankfully, I train there, so I don't gotta fight them.
Yes, but it also can be again, this kind of rounds are really tough. But in the fight, when you will be fighting a tough wrestler, you can submit them or
Yeah,
maybe defending their takedowns.
yeah, for sure, man. No, for sure, for sure. But I think yeah, uh, I think those guys are like probably they give me the most problems as far as like right now. You know, in my career, it might change later. Yeah, it might change later too. But yeah, because if you're fighting like a super skilled striker and you have the ability to take it down, you can kind of like weather the storm and figure it out. But if you can't take the guy down at all, and he's the one like taking you down, and you don't have a way to submit them, that's the hardest thing for me.
And what is the like main goal as far as the MMA for you? Would you like to be in a few years in the UFC, in Bellator, being a champion, being in the rankings?
Yeah, man. I mean, I would love to. I would love to get a belt in any of those big promotions. You know, wherever it's Bellator, PFL, anything like that. Anything really. I try to keep my mind open. Whatever God has in store. You know what I mean. But yeah, I just want to leave my mark on the sport, you know, leave my style, show what I can do, prove it to myself, and do the most that I can with my abilities and myself. You know what I'm saying? It's just the pursuit of getting better with myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, but yeah, I really like those Bellator Europe events though, man. I really like them. I would like to fight on like a Bellator Paris or something like that. That would be something I would really like to do. Because that last Bellator Paris card, one of my friends, Mansour Barnawi, he was on the co-main. Man, that card was crazy. Like it really made me want to fight on there. Or
Yes,
Rising too, man. Some of those events in Rising are like super crazy.
yes, this is a good thing that you can like pick from many organization. That is, of course, the UFC is the main one, but also
Yeah.
there are a lot of these very good promotions.
Yeah, I never have like I mean if the UFC happens and I can get a run there, that'll be awesome too. But I just don't have my eyes on like one option because I just try to always stay a little bit open-minded and because life is never like one straight line, right? You always have waves. So I just try to keep my options. But like I said, those Bellator Europe cards or those Rising cards like full of people in that ring, that should look awesome, man. I would love to do that.
And Bellator like have cards in like England, Ireland, France.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of places that you can fight in.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Even the cards that they do here in Hawaii, the cards they do here in Connecticut and shit, like they have big events lately. I know they're in talks of selling or something. I don't know. I don't know what's happening, but yeah, I would like to fight at least on one of those cards, man. That's a goal of mine for sure.
Yes, so after your next fight and win, maybe another quick win, it can be like another step in your journey.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. If it happens like my last couple fights, for sure, man. For sure. Because if I get quality wins like that, I don't even have a big records to end up on a show. If I got all finishes like that, I mean, my options will be open. You know.
And as the amateur, you fought as the bantamweight, and right now you are a featherweight. So is the featherweight like the division that you will end your career in, that you will be fight?
End my career, I don't know, because if I get older and bigger, I might even go to 55. I used to make 135 as an amateur. I made it twice, but it was really hard, man. It takes me like, I mean, it takes me like 8 weeks preparation, like diet every day to make 135, and I felt really weak, so I didn't like it. I was just trying to figure out what division was best for me, and I won 45. I felt the best. I thought I won 55 my last fight just because someone called me out, and I didn't like them, so I just say, okay, I'll fight you, and it was at 55. But yeah, I felt a little small at 55. Like when I'm going with 55ers, I'm a little small, but 45 is for me, man. I really like it. Even though I'm not like the biggest 45er, I feel strong and I always feel like healthy and good. Um, I think I don't know. There's a lot of my friends and teammates that cut like 30 pounds and stuff like that. I like to stay like in the 20s. I don't want to get above the 20s. I want to stay like how I feel all the time. Now that might change in the future. Who knows? But as of right now, yeah, I feel really good at 45. It's not hard for me to make it, and I can stay in shape the whole year without like you know without having to do like extreme dieting. I just eat really well all year round, and I eat a lot. I eat a lot of steak, salmon, veggies. You know what I mean? I eat big plates of good food, and I feel strong.
Yes, so I think that it's a very good thing because the weight cutting sometimes it's like even often the worst part of the game for the MMA fighters. So I think that it's good that you are not like cutting a lot of weight in like 1 week before the fight because it's really not healthy and in the future you can have some problems because of it.
Yeah, 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 man. And everybody's different, man. I know guys that cut 35 pounds no problem, and I know guys that can't cut more than 10. So yeah, I try to stay within 20. I try to walk around 165 at all times. So if anything pops up, I can make 45 next week. You know what I mean? Like it's always doable for me to make 45 at any given moment. That's what I want. I don't want to be like I don't want to have to say no because I have to make weight if a short notice is something like that. I just want to be in shape at all times.
And
Yeah.
if you can pick a fighter that you could fight from any promotion in like the dream fight scenario, who do you like to pick and fight?
A dream scenario, man. I would like to, man. I don't know. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Dream for me to fight them, right?
Yes.
for me to fight them, and man, I don't know. Uh, I would like to fight Ryan Hall. That would be a good one, just because I respect him a lot and I think he's cool. Even though like last couple of fights hasn't been that cool to watch, but just from what he's done prior, I would like to fight him. I would like to fight him and like grapple with him when I'm at my peak. You know what I mean? Not right now. I need to put more work, but when I'm at my peak versus me versus peak Ryan Hall, I would love that for sure. I
And
know it's a weird one, but
yes, but it actually was my first pick also because
oh, right on, right on.
yes, because Ryan is also a great he's a very good fighter, but he was a great as the grappler. So I think
Yeah,
that these kind of exchanges on the ground would be something unbelievable.
yeah, man, I'm a big fan of his stuff. Yeah, for sure.
And do you usually watch UFC fights or overall MMA fights?
Yeah, I watch all the fights, man. I'm a big nerd. I do a podcast too in French where I pick fights. I pick like the every UFC fights the weekend. I pick the Bellator cards and shit too. Yeah, man. I'm a big nerd, man. I watch fights every Saturday, every one of them, prelims to main card, every Saturday, no exceptions. You too, huh?
One more time.
You watch the fights too, right? You watch all the fights.
Yes. I'm really big fan. So I have a question. Who do you think can beat Alexander Volkanovski right now? Because you are a featherweight division, so you
Yeah,
may be interested also in this.
man. I don't think nobody can beat Volkanovski at 45 right now. One of the best 45ers I know, Gavin Tucker, who's helped me a lot. He's like one of the best guys that I know at 45, like that will have the style to maybe do it, but it's tough, man. It's tough. Fuck. Volkanovski at 45, I think it would be more at 55 that you can find people that can beat him, you know, because at 45 is tough. With the fight with Yair Rodriguez, you had that X factor, like maybe with the kicks or something like that, something crazy happens, but we saw that it wasn't possible, it wasn't doable. He blocked everything, so I don't know, man. Maybe Ilya Topuria could do it. Let's see, man. He could, yeah, probably out of all the 45ers right now, realistically, will be the one that could do it. Ilya Topuria, or maybe Mozlor Evloev. He's undefeated still, right?
Yes,
Yeah, yeah, he is. Yeah, he actually beat the guy that's fighting Gavin Tucker this weekend. His
Dan
last
Ige.
fight.
He beat Dan Ige for sure, and he was scheduled to fight also a Bryce Mitchell, but something
He
didn't.
fought Diego Lopez instead, right? Who's fighting this weekend?
Yes.
Yeah, that's his last fight. Yeah, he might have a chance to. Maybe him and Ilya should fight each other, and whoever wins should fight Volkanovski. I think.
Yes, but I think that all featherweights are waiting Volkanovski to go up
Yeah,
to
yeah,
the
yeah.
lightweight
That's a good.
division.
That's a good idea too, man. That's a good idea.
Yes, because I think that right now only age can beat Volkanovski in the featherweight
Yeah,
division. Maybe in a few years he will be like a little bit slower, something like this. But right now,
yeah,
if
maybe,
Max
man.
Holloway wouldn't able to do it, it would be a hard
Yeah, no,
for
for sure. I
anyone.
agree with you. I agree with you. It's a tough one.
And for you, what is the biggest motivator for you to train MMA and to be a fighter?
Honestly, I just like it, man. I just enjoy the lifestyle. So I don't wake up like needing motivation. I wake up like I want to do it, you know. I really enjoy training, and it's changed my life in a great aspect. Like it's made me more organized, it's made me more responsible, makes me a better husband, makes me a better family member, you know what I mean? Makes me a better friend. I just like the peace that it brings me and the routine. You know, I love the routine and learning new things. And I'm a super big fan of MMA too as a fighter. So like you know how it is. Like if you watch all the fights, it gives you something to look forward to like all the time. You're never bored. You always have something to do. Even if you're not fighting, you always have somebody to help. You know what I mean? I for sure I want to be in this sport forever. Like I want to end up helping and coaching and doing anything I can around the sport, man. Podcasting, I truly love it. That's all I think about. And especially in this fucking crazy world that we live now, you know, with everything going on, you never know what's next, you know, and MMA is always there's always something to look forward to in MMA. So yeah, man.
Yes, like watching MMA, you can't be bored because always
Never.
something interesting
Yeah,
will happen
yeah,
all the
yeah.
time.
And whenever it gets boring, boom, something else happened, you know.
And before your fights, how do you deal with the stress?
I'm getting a little bit I'm getting a little bit better at it. I used to trip a lot more. I just go through the motion, man. I know it's just another day. Like obviously you're gonna have nerves, right? You're gonna have nerves. You don't want to lose. You don't want to look silly. You don't want to get hurt or whatever. But I think everybody deals with that. I just trust my training. You know, I just let my body take over, and it is what it is. But once I'm like in the locker room, I'm ready to fight. I've already accepted the fight that like I'm here. Like I'm gonna make the best of it. Whatever happens, I'm gonna make the best of it. But I know like people deal with stress differently. Some people don't even stress. I stress a little bit, but I'm getting good at like keeping my composure and maintaining the day, from the morning to the end of the fight, like just saving my energy and just trusting my body and trusting the process.
Yes, and in the end of the day, results are good. So the strategy is also it's very efficient.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But I never want to think like, oh, this is my strategy and that's all I'm gonna do. I always want to evolve, so I try to take notes every fight, like mental notes, like, okay, this happened, I didn't like that, I didn't like that. I try to eat like, I try to eat something that really makes me feel good too, like a good breakfast, all that stuff. So yeah, man.
And after the fight, when you know that you really can't train, what do you like to do in like your free time?
I like to cook a lot, man. I like to cook steaks. I eat steak every day. I like to drink beer. And I work too. I have a job, so I'm also busy with work. But yeah, man, I like restaurants. I like cooking. I like drinking beer and wine. So yeah, man.
Yeah, so after the fights, it's very good things to do because
Oh yeah.
before the fight you really can't do it. So after
Ah,
you can do it even more.
yeah, even more, even more. And there's always a friend that has a fight that I have to help him. So even when I don't have a fight, I'm always like somewhat invested in a training camp. Whether it's mine or someone else's. So it's always great, man.
And what would be a perfect scenario for you for like next year? How many fights would you like to have, and where in what point would you like to be in?
Well, depending on what happens, like with the UFL, if they want to resign me, if they propose me like a good something that's interesting, right? That's worth, that's worth. Depending, I just want to be in a good promotion, making decent money, and having entertaining fights. Entertaining fights, fighting like 2 to 4 times a year. Maybe 3 to 4 times a year, depending on what the deal is, and just keeping active, keeping busy, and just keep getting better, man. That's all I want.
And one last question. It's outside of fighting, but I think that it's quite interesting. If you can learn one skill, it can be anything. It can be sport related, art related, anything. What would you like to learn?
What would I like to learn? Hmm. Man, I would like to learn how to trade stocks and make money off stocks. Yeah, I'm actually, yeah, I need to do that. That's what I would like to do. Just finding new ways to make money from my computer and not having to work.
Okay, so it's a very smart choice.
Yeah, I try to keep it smart, man. Yeah,
Okay. Okay, Arthur, so many thanks for this conversation. I hope
of
that you will
course.
be able to beat your opponent, and in next fights you will be fighting either in this promotion or any other, maybe in the US, maybe in Europe.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm open to anything.
Okay, so thanks.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you.